A very pleasant, good Friday evening to you, and welcome to the Raceway at the Western Fair District in London, Ontario. You're getting a look at a live harness race being conducted tonight, part of the 12-race program. We are going to have 4 of those coming your way this evening, and it is a beautiful night weather-wise in the Forest City, unseasonably warm and sunny all day long, and that's carried over into this evening, where we're getting ready for an outstanding 4-pack that includes our last look at the Glamour Boy division this season in the OSS as they get set for those super finals coming up next weekend at Woodbine Mohawk Park. Hi again, everybody, and welcome inside the Annex location, just trackside here at the Raceway. Greg Blanchard and Mark McKelvey, wonderful to have you on board here this evening. And Mark, as much as the racing tonight is the storyline, how about the weather for this time of year?
Oh, incredible conditions here on this Friday, and you mentioned it off the top. A gorgeous evening for live racing. Temperatures are touching over 20 degrees Celsius here earlier today in London, and that sets up for what should be a very even and a very fast-playing surface for tonight's action.
Yeah, and we're switching it up tonight. In recent weeks, all of our shows have been coming from Woodbine Mohawk Park, as mentioned, the big oval in Campbellville, Ontario. Tonight, we're getting back to the more traditional half-mile oval, and that is the subject of our poll question this evening. We want to hear from you tonight. Tell us whether you prefer watching racing on a half-mile track like we're going to see tonight, the twice around, or whether you prefer the 5/8 mile oval or the bigger 1 mile ovals. Have your say. We would love to hear from you tonight as we welcome all of our folks viewing tonight on our several social media platforms across North America. It's wonderful to have you with us tonight. So let us know what you think. Do you prefer half mile, 5/8 mile, or something other than that? And everybody who does comment tonight, you'll be automatically entered for that grand prize draw at season's end from our friends at hoofbid.com. You'll be playing for that urban e-bike valued at about $3,500. And our friends at Hoofbid, of course, are getting ready for their first ever yearling auction. It'll be coming up next weekend, and one of 3 different formats we're going to see this year, Mark. So different times. The Lexington sale, I should say, just completed, and here in Ontario, we'll be getting to see the yearlings for offer this season starting next weekend, and it's going to be an entirely different format. It's a bit fragmented and different platforms, and hey, it's just a sign of the times.
Absolutely. Again, social distancing, everything that comes with the current era that we are living in. Everybody's had to adapt. You see the 3 sales right there. It'll kick off on Friday with the Hoofbid yearling sale. Of course, Hoofbid's been making lots of noise this season since debuting. The London selected yearling sale, it's going virtual. It'll be done through the ongate.com platform, and that'll take place over a few different days, a little different than some of the different auctions that you've seen that are more right in the moment. And of course, then the Ontario Select yearling sale will be held at Winback Farms. That'll take place next Saturday morning, starting off at 10:30 a.m. And they're going to basically, everything you see above, they're going to mix it all together. There'll be some people in person, others will have to participate online, but of course, plenty of great opportunities to get involved in Ontario racing. A lot of great Ontario sired yearlings will be sold. We might not know who those great ones are just yet, so that's your job to pick them out, and hopefully in a year or two's time, we'll be in this spot talking about them.
Absolutely. So going to be really interesting to see how all of the different formats play out. Here in London, of course, the home of the London Select yearling sale, not able to take place this year. The Agriplex across the way is where that is traditionally held, and that currently set up as a temporary hospital with the pandemic still with us, obviously, and that building out of play this year. So the folks here were quick to say, you know what, we're going to go virtual this year. So we applaud them for that, and we wish all of the different platforms well coming up next weekend as we start yearling sale season here in the province of Ontario. But we've got to focus on tonight, as mentioned, our last look at the Glamour Boys as they get set for those super finals, those lucrative super finals coming up next weekend. But tonight, the big marquee matchup, Tattoo Artist and Beaumont Hanover, just part of our 4-race coverage.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at what we've got on tap for you here tonight on COSA-TV. You see right there, 4 races, 5 through 8. The marquee race, obviously the Ontario Sire Stakes Gold division. Just one division for the 3-year-old Payson Colts and Geldings here in the 5th and final leg, going for a purse of $155,000. But you see right there, we've got a real mixed bag of action. We got something to cover all the varieties of racing. In fact, we've got an add distance event coming up a little later on in the card. Of course, that's in race 6. And then we'll cap things off with some of the hard-knocking older pacers that race around Ontario in a preferred 2 handicap pace.
Yeah, we've been a bit spoiled over the month of September at Mohawk Park, Grand Circuit Stake after Grand Circuit Stake. So tonight we're getting back a little bit to the grassroots of racing, but of course we've got that big gold event coming up as well. There's Dr. Ian Moore. He's got Tattoo Artist, and that guy, Denali Sealster, in action tonight. We'll see them a little bit later. Time for a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with more in a moment on COSA-TV.
Dark Horse. Download the app today.
Welcoming you back trackside to the Raceway in London, Ontario. And just a single photographer out there, and a sign of the times, unable to have spectators out front here this season at the Raceway. But nonetheless, it is great to be back. This is just the second card of the season. It kicked off this past Wednesday, and tonight, beautiful night for racing here in the Forest City as we get set for that OSS Gold event coming up a little bit later as part of our 4-race coverage tonight. Again, welcome to all of you tuning in tonight, and we'd love to hear where you are watching from this evening. Leave us a comment on the various social media platforms where you are tuning in. Greg Blanchard and Mark McKelvey. And Mark, do you ever play these games often, pacing or catch driver, or these horse racing games we see online?
It's pretty hard to be somebody involved in the harness racing industry and not have downloaded those apps and to found yourself maybe late at night constantly trying to win a couple more races before you go to bed. But definitely have participated, no doubt about it. They might be on this phone.
Well, if you haven't checked them out, and the gentleman behind them is a young guy named Ryan Clements, and that name might ring a bell. He is, yes, from the Clements family. He's the grandson of Norm, of course, the co-owner of the great Cam Fella, one of the most prolific stallions in the history of harness racing. Father Dan, a very successful harness racing driver himself. So Ryan has made his name on the tech side of things with a horse racing twist, and most recently, he decided to get back into the game hands-on and got his trainer's license, and he's based right here locally now in London. And earlier this week, we took a trip to the Dorchester Fairgrounds and caught up with Ryan and Dan to find out more.
I'd been in and out of the barn my whole life. My parents tried to keep me out of it, but it's in my blood, and I want to be around the horses. So, especially during this whole lockdown, it's like this is just in the summertime is amazing to get out, sit behind a horse in the morning, just to change of pace. So I had the opportunity to do it and figured I'd jump on it. One of the things was my parents were living about 3 hours away when the lockdown started, and we got them to move out to London and convinced him to come work with me. So it's me and my dad in the barn, and it's been a blast working together with him. We've never worked together in this way, so it was a pretty cool opportunity, and enjoying it. So I guess most people would know our involvement with racing from Cam Fella and my grandfather, Norm. So he owned a bunch of horses, and then my dad had a career driving and training. So he was top driver at Georgian Downs and Grand River around 2005, 2006. And I've just sort of been on the sidelines my whole life. Most people that know me would know me as the guy who makes the horse racing video games. And just got my trainer's license this past summer, and now taking care of 3 horses and exercising them every morning. So that's my morning job. I come in here early. I'm the first one on the track. I'm usually done out there before anybody else gets on the track, and I'm off to my day job sitting behind a computer. Getting back out to London was great. I just loved the area. I always loved going out to Western Fair, and honestly finding this place, Dorchester Fairgrounds, was a key piece to the puzzle. There's probably about 12 different trainers here, and honestly, the environment around here, it's almost like we're a team. When I see people win, I'll be posting on their Facebook, like, mark one up for Team Dorchester, and it's a pretty cool environment to be in. Share the tracks, we were always on a private farm where you had to do everything yourself, so now we got a perfect track every day. And so my dad and I set up earlier in the summer. We got 3 horses in the barn, been racing around the smaller tracks around Ontario, so we're really looking forward to Western Fair getting opened up here. I feel like it's sort of we feel like we've been preparing all summer for this meet, and it's almost like day one, start of the season, ready to go now.
Ryan Clements, the youngest of the Clements generation, making his mark on the sport of harness racing. And the entire family has been doing that for a long, long time, Mark, going back to, of course, Norm, the grandfather, founder of National Sports, highly successful in the business world, highly successful in the race game as well.
And how about the fact, Ryan Clements, I see all of his posts on social media, everything that he's doing, whether it's his apps with Catch Driver, Often Pacing. Now he's got Turf Dynasty going. He's moved over onto the thoroughbred side, making an app there. When does he have time to take care of these horses? I don't know how many hours are in his day, but he's going to be one of the busiest people going in the industry, and a big asset, no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to love his enthusiasm for the game. And, he's looking for new ways to promote the game and introduce it to a new young audience. So that is wonderful to see. And again, carrying on that wonderful family tradition. It's great to see Father Dan now. He's got a little more time to help out. And there's a look at the 4 generations now. Ryan with his young daughter there as well. Great photo. But Dan really made his mark on the racetrack too. We kind of forget what a top driver he was.
Yeah, and it was alluded to there in that piece as Ryan talked about Dan. He was one of the top drivers here in Ontario, racing around the various tracks throughout the province. He'd also dabbled down south of the border. You'd see him in the wintertime there, having plenty of success at Pompano Park over a stretch of several years. So certainly for Ryan to have success in the sport, it would be no surprise considering his family background.
And he's done all right so far on the training side. Only 12 starters so far as a licensed trainer. Wouldn't you know it, he won the very first race of the fall meet here this past Wednesday with a pacing filly named P.L. Nelly. He's 2 for 12, but he's hit the board with 9 of those 12. So it appears that he's picked up the Clements gene on the training side. And again, having Dan there to help him as well, that's a real solid 1-2 punch, and I think they'll do well here.
Oh, I would think so, and I'm sure getting ready for the Western Fair meet here, I'm sure Ryan had that date circled on the calendar, and to win the first race in the meet, that'd be a pretty special feeling. And hey, we're going to get an opportunity to see what he can do here coming up in race number 5.
That's right. He sends out number 7, PL Notorious, 13-1 on the board right now. You can see the odds at the bottom of the screen. The favorite in this contest is number 5, Persistent Example, who was a winner last time out at Flamborough. There's a look at Ryan and company. Will be driven here by Mark St. Louis. He was the leading driver by wins in Canada last year, 341, and we'll try and get this one to the winner's circle tonight at odds of 14-1. Post 7, we should mention, for those who don't watch London on a regular basis, Mark, is the outside starting spot.
Yeah, far outside, so of course there's a lot to overcome there, but not impossible. And for some, hey, they get out of that spot better than others. It's quickly into that first turn here. So we'll see exactly what the approach is for Mark St. Louis with PL Notorious, but one on paper that should be very competitive in this group. 14-1, a little higher than I would expect, but of course having that outside starting spot's probably why the betting public is shying away a little bit.
So we'll be getting a look at the horses coming out here in a moment for Post Parade. Let's take a quick commercial break right now. And when we come back, it will be the Post Parade for our first of 4 from the Raceway.
COSA, the Central Ontario Standardbred Association, proudly serving Ontario horse people with integrity and accountability. Collaborative, supportive, helping to ensure a vibrant harness racing industry. Lifetime membership is free and there are many benefits. Become a new member today. COSA, representing the interests of horse people racing at Ontario racetracks. To find out more, visit COSAonline.com.
And there's a look at the 7PL Notorious as the horses and drivers exit our paddock location here in London. They'll go down through the tunnel. It's an interesting setup, Mark. There's a tunnel that leads down underneath Florence Street, and they will come out onto the track for Post Parade. So yeah, that's a bird's eye view of following them out, and here they are coming up the other side of that tunnel, and they're immediately on the track for Post Parade. So let's meet the field. W.C. Kenzie Cookie is the number 1. It'll be Brett McDonald in the driver's seat here. Brett has been over the $1 million mark as a driver, 3 straight seasons. Tisha Symes in her 3rd full season as a trainer. She's on pace for a career best season. This daughter of Camshaft, Hanover, sitting at 5-2.
Woodbine Mohawk Park's leading driver Bob McClure in town tonight for the OSS, and he'll drive number 2, Who's Your Mama, currently 6-1 on the betting board. This one racing for the Currans is 0-14 on the season. That would be a perfect time to get into the win call.
And at 9-2, there's number 3, Vintage Smile. Drew Neal, another of the young reinsmen on Ontario, has got 29 wins this season, career best totals for him.
Twin B Salsa is the 4, currently 7-1. Paul McKenzie driving for trainer Blake McIntosh. McIntosh brought 4 over here tonight to race at the Raceway.
Number 5, Persistent Example. There's a look at that one. Ryan DeRoche in the driver's seat for trainer and co-owner Dean Nixon. Slight favorite right now, off the win last time by a neck at Flamborough Downs.
Number 6 is Latte Grande. Tyler Borth will drive for trainer John Yake. Comes in off of a scratch last time out, so it's been off for just about a month. We'll see if this one get into the win column for the first time this season, and 6th time overall, as you'll get a look at Latte Grande right there. Hard to miss that one for sure.
Yeah, good looking gray. And Tyler Borth, one of the top local reinsmen in recent years. He'll be on board that one. We talked about PL Notorious, the 7. There's a look at that one. The PL moniker stands for Prince Lee Acres, and this one a homebred of Prince Lee Acres, operated by Norm Clements, and they're located in Uxbridge, Ontario. Have produced a number of top horses over the years, and this one a daughter of Sunshine Beach.
And another one that'll stand out. The 4-year-old mare Red Hot and Sporty completes this field. We'll start from the 2nd tier. Colin Kelly drives for owner-trainer Sheldon Rose.
All right, we'll get a look at them scoring out here as we get set for the first of our 4 races tonight from the Raceway. And we talked about it, beautiful night weather-wise here this evening. The little to no wind, and it stayed unseasonably warm, so we'll take it. This is kind of bonus weather for us, Mark. Unfortunately, when we get to this time of year, it really can be anything. So it bodes well, and we're excited not only about tonight, but of course looking ahead to tomorrow night. We'll be right back with you for those grassroots championships. 8
championship races featuring the 2- and 3-year-olds. Those grassroots contests have been very competitive all season long, and it on paper is shaping up to be a great night of racing tomorrow night. And you talk about the weather conditions, we're looking at great conditions tomorrow evening as well, and really looking forward to a few of those youngsters that'll be racing, because you know, today when I was going through that card of racing and you look back to past grassroots championships, horses, they develop and they're going to get better as they go along. For some of them, they might be grassrooters at 2, but then they can really take that jump at 3. So we could be watching some of the bright future stars on display tomorrow night. 8 championship races, all 8 in a row. So we'll have that coverage here on COSA-TV.
All right, and getting various camera angles for you here this evening from the Raceway. So nice to give you a look at a venue that you maybe don't see as often as tracks like Woodbine Mohawk Park. And here, one thing about it, when you are outside and in the grandstand here at this particular venue, Mark, you are right on top of the action.
And where we are right now, earlier in the evening, we've been watching the races that have gone on. This is race 5, so 4 already completed. And we're just inside. I know we got the door slightly cracked, but you can hear them powering down the stretch. So you imagine what it would be like if we could have I know a great crowd on display behind us. That's not the case right now, but if you're here and you're trackside, you, as you mentioned, are right on top of them.
Absolutely. And tonight you're getting a mix of reinsmen from Woodbine Entertainment Group and the local guys, some of the top local guys. And you know, when you look at the guys that are coming back tonight from Woodbine as their top drivers, a lot of these guys are fellows that a few years back were regulars here, cut their teeth at a track like London. Jody Jamieson, for that matter, the same thing, and then go on to the big track.
Yeah, and that's something that I think you have to take into account, the fact that they're just as familiar with this track as the guys that race here on a very consistent basis. Bob McClure, we'll see him in this race. He's driving number 2, Who's Your Mama. I think that one's taking a little more attention than you would expect, just because McClure is doing the driving, but he's been competing in a few races already tonight. So for some of them, when they show up here, it's not just pop in for one and head on out. Everybody looks for an opportunity to use them. And I also think too, Greg, and I'm sure you can touch on this from watching over the years, I think for the regulars here, sometimes there's a little chip on their shoulder to protect home turf on a night like tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I think they get pumped up and want to see you know, how their driving stacks up against the best of the best. And there's one of the top local young guys, Tyler Borth. You know, his father Bill Borth, well-known horseman from this area, and Tyler's made a really nice name for himself, and coming off the best season of his career last year. And he's put up good numbers again this season, despite the fact that it's been shortened due to the pandemic situation. But last year, he visited the winner's circle 151 times and banked close to $1 million. So he knows his way around this track as well as anybody. And there's Paul McKenzie, the veteran. You know, when you look at his career numbers, they're staggering. 8,800 career wins for Paul McKenzie. You kind of forgot about how many trips he's made to the winner's circle over his career.
How about at Flamborough Downs? Was he not the winningest driver in track history? You know, he knows his way around a half-mile oval better than anybody here in Ontario.
There's Colin Kelly. He relocated to Ontario just a few years ago and has made an immediate splash, and he's certainly one of the top young reinsmen in Canada. In fact, he was 5th in the nation last year by wins with 276, the best of his career. And he's carried that over into this season. Brett McDonald, he's kind of the new kid on the block around here. He cut his teeth at Rideau Carleton in Ottawa, where he was near the top of the standings for a couple of seasons there. And since relocating to this part of the province, he's been a perfect fit.
He has, and he's already got 2 wins on the card here tonight as he took the first 2 races and came through in the opening race with Bologna at odds of 4-1, and then he followed that up with Shark Idea at 6-1. So he's had some success to kick things off and has been on a great go here in 2020.
All right, there again, a look at PL Notorious, who has been taking some late tote support now at 7-1, so getting some consideration. I want to remind you, post 7 is the outside spot here. They go 7 wide. Post 8 is a trailer. A little different than a lot of half-mile tracks, in my opinion, Mark. I mean, I've been here for 10 years now, and I think horses from the outside, if you've got gate speed, now, albeit you've got to be able to really get off the gate, but you can step out of there. It's a slanted starting gate, and the way the races are started here, not the disadvantage it is at some other half-mile tracks. So we'll see if the 7 can get put into play here. This also caps off the pick 5 wager, Mark, and that new wager just introduced this season, already proving popular.
Absolutely. It's one of the most popular wagers right across the entire industry. There's no doubt about that. So adding that in here at the Raceway certainly is going to draw some eyeballs on it. 5,100 was in the pool tonight, and we head into the final leg. So if you were getting in on the action before we went on the air and you're still alive, good luck here as we're wrapping it up with our first of 4 tonight on COSA-TV.
All right, Brad Pittock, our starter here, has got them, and Shannon Sugar Doyle is standing by with the race call.
Smile, Twin B, Salsa, Persistent Example, Latte Grande, PL Notorious, Red Hot and Sporty in the back tier spot. 1/8 of a mile from the start. Picking up speed. Here they come. Off and pacing. Persistent Example leaving strong. Latte Grande's next door, and on the pylons, WC Kenzie Cookie was trying to come on through. Best start of all. It's Persistent Example for DeRoche. Finding this one on the lead for the new connections. Persistent Example on top. Second best is WC Kenzie Cookie, tracking from third. Now pylon position for Latte Grande. Away in the 4th spot is Who's Yo Mama. Peek to the outside early now in 5th. Red Hot and Sporty's out and rolling. Oh, even wider still, Vintage Smile out there 3 deep into turn number 2. It's 28 3, 1/4 mile speed, courtesy of 4-1 shot. Persistent Example still second. WC Kenzie Cookie still third. Latte Grande. It's Red Hot and Sporty floating on up there out of 4th, 5th and in for Who's Yo Mama. Second over cover here for Vintage Smile. Next to last was PL Notorious. The trailer moving out was Twin B Salsa. Twin B Salsa. They half-timed up 59-1 speed for Persistent Example. Left alone here. Persistent Example's got 3/8 left to go. It's WC Kenzie Cookie bravening up here in second. Latte Grande holding down third. Out there in 4th, though not gaining. Red Hot and Sporty 3 deep once again. There goes Vintage Smile. 4 wide on the outside. Twin B Salsa. So 4 wide out of the backfield. All giving chase now to Persistent Example, who was fronting through 3/4 and 1, 28 4, pulling from the pocket. WC Kenzie Cookie, Latte Grande at a big number, getting a trip here now at a 3rd, looking to come on through at a 4th. Who's Your Mama? 1/8 of a mile left to go, and Persistent Example has done all the work. She's trying to get paid. WC Kenzie Cookie after this one. Persistent Example, DeRoche for Nixon. WC Kenzie Cookie second. Who's Your Mama closing up well for third. Latte Grande 4th. 158 3.
158 3 for Persistent Example. 2 consecutive victories after winning last time at Flamborough Downs. A couple of seconds faster than that tonight. Able to control things on the front end. That snap move off the wings of the gate, ultimately the difference.
You talked about it, Greg. If you can fire out of there, you got a chance. And Ryan DeRoche was able to get Persistent Example off the wings nicely to the front. And certainly had to be a couple anxious moments just knowing that WC Kenzie Cookie, the 2-1 choice, was sitting on his back and tips out and takes the shot, but does not go by. A nice steer there from Ryan DeRoche. Another young driver, so that's kind of been a theme as we were talking about going into that race. I was talking to him earlier in the evening over in the paddock. Always has a smile on his face, and he might be smiling a little bigger right now after that coast-to-coast win with Persistent Example. Yeah,
absolutely. And, you know, a cool steer going into the last turn. The one pulled on him good and early, but he sat chilly and held that one off by a half a length. Who's Your Mama? If there was one that turned in an eye-catching rally in the final quarter, it was that one. Lapped on the leaders late. Latte Grande looked brave at the 3/4, but then faltered a little bit in the final quarter.
So a 4-1 winner for Persistent Example to cap off that pick 5, and it certainly wasn't a chalky pick 5 by any stretch of the imagination, as had some nice little prices come throughout that sequence. I think the lowest price is going to be 4-1 in that entire sequence in the first leg, and now here in the final leg.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're going to see a big return here. They guarantee the pool at $2,500. They were, I think, in excess of 11 or 12,000 the first day. Not quite that high here tonight, but nonetheless, this is a popular wager across harness racing, and I think you're going to see that trend continue here at the Raceway as it starts to get some traction. There's the connections. Dean Nixon, the owner, trainer. Nixon annually, puts up good numbers on the training side. From a limited number of starters every year, always bats a high average, always has quality.
Yeah, absolutely does. Shares ownership with his brother Justin Nixon, who does some training over on the thoroughbred side.
Talked to him recently down at Fort Erie for the big day there, Prince of Wales Day, and both do well on their respective breeds, no question. Persistent Example let go at a $10.10 win ticket return. The Superfecta, a nice result there with a couple of long shots, third and fourth, more than 1,300 and change.
And there was no winner in the pick 5, so we'll have a carryover of $4,385, and I guess we shouldn't be surprised. You go through that stretch of 5 races, as I talked about, a couple of 4-to-1 shots. Those were your lowest prices in there. You had a 15-to-1 shot in race 4, so there were no winners of the pick 5 here tonight, so there'll be a carryover.
1 race down and 3 to go. You're watching live coverage from the Raceway on COSA-TV.
Enjoy the thrill of the race anywhere, anytime with HPIBet.com. Join for free and use your smartphone, tablet, or PC to watch and wager when you can't be at the track. Stream live racing from over 450 tracks. Bet with ease from anywhere. It's safe and secure. Get rewards, race alerts, tips, and more. For a limited time, get $100 when you become a member. Plus, 1 month free live race streaming, and your first bet is on us. Go to HPIBet.com to join for free today.
You are watching live coverage of the Friday night program from the Raceway at Western Fair District, London, Ontario, also known as the Forest City. Hi again, everybody. Greg Blanchard and Mark McKelvey welcoming you. If you're just tuning in, welcome. We've still got the main event to come over in race number 7 tonight. That's the OSS Gold for 3-year-old Colt and Gelding Pacers. But race 6 coming up next. And Mark, this is one of our added distance events here, and it's one of the unique things that we have here at the Raceway.
Mile and a 16th is what we will go here in race number 6, and with it being an added distance event, that means that we can have a bigger field. So the fact here in this upcoming 6 races, we'll have 9 competing. You got 2 trailers. There's a lot more runway into that first turn, and there should be plenty of action. One of the great tracks here in Ontario and across our country is the Raceway, and there's a ton of history here in the Forest City.
Yeah, it's a really cool location. It's located right in the heart of the city here, kind of landlocked. People have asked me many times, why don't you widen the track, make it a little bigger? And frankly, there's just no room to do it as it currently sits. The streets on all sides, but a really neat location right in the city and a great history, as you mentioned. It dates back into the 1800s, formerly known as Queen's Park. And a lot of people might not know, Mark, the first track to host nighttime racing in Ontario, and that started back in May of 1961, the brainchild of then GM, a young Evan McGugan, who's legendary in these parts. And speaking of legendary, many of the top horsemen, the most recognizable names in the sport, come from this part of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to look much further than that first name up there. How about John Campbell? There's no doubt about that. There's track has produced a lot of great horsemen and women over the years, and great look there at the record handle, just shy of $1 million, and I'm sure that is a big target here for the group here at the Raceway, Greg.
Yeah, you'd love to think there might be a shot at that someday, and came awful close. That was just before things shut down briefly when COVID first hit and hoping that momentum will certainly continue over into the fall season, and a good start this past Wednesday. Great to be back tonight. And as mentioned, great history here, great horse people. Some great announcers have called the action here over the years as well. And the man who does it currently is one of the best in the business, Shannon Sugar Doyle. Earlier we caught up with him for his thoughts on these added distance races.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Raceway at Western Fair District, London, Ontario. It's the Forest City of Ontario. One of my favorite seasons is fall, and nothing better than starting up a brand new season here in London. You're going to be watching a 1 1/16 race here coming up soon on the COSA show. 9-horse field, and you know what? When I first came here, the 9-horse fields were going the 1 mile distance. That first turn came up for them very quick. So the 1 1/16 with a bigger field allows them a little more time through the stretch to get situated where they want to be going into that first turn. Don't be afraid to back the outside horse or even the trailing 9 horse in those races. It's really anybody's race when it comes to a 9-horse field going a 1 1/16 here in London. We're going to wish you all the best of luck following along and playing the Raceway, along with tuning into the COSA-TV show. All the best tonight, and going forward on a brand new meet here in London.
Sugar Doyle, they don't come any more passionate than him calling the action, and of course all over social media has a huge following.
Yeah, it certainly does, and just before the meet started up, heard him out west calling a very big thoroughbred race out there, so he does a great job. Doesn't matter what part of the country he is in, but as you can tell there, certainly enthusiastic for the new season here in London.
All right, we are looking forward, of course, to our featured event tonight. That's race 7, the OSS Gold, for 3-year-old colt and gelding pacers, billed as a marquee showdown between tattoo artist and Beaumont Hanover. Some think that showdown won't materialize tonight simply because of the post position draw. We'll find out. We did talk earlier, Mark did, over in the paddock with Jack Darling, who is the co-owner and conditioner of Beaumont Hanover, for his thoughts tonight from Post 7.
Coming up, race number 7, the Ontario Sire Stakes Gold for 3-year-old pacing colts and geldings, joined now by Beaumont Hanover's trainer Jack Darling. And Jack, post position 7 here tonight, and everyone knows what that post means here at Western Fair. But before we came on camera, you were telling me though, when people look on paper, they may see Beaumont Hanover's never raced on a half, but you guys actually made a trip over here recently.
I did. I actually took him to Flamborough once and trained him a good mile there. Then I brought him here last week and went a good mile just to make sure that he gets around the track fine, won't hurt himself. He's a big horse, so I was a little bit nervous, and he'd never been on a half, so I'm confident that he at least won't.
So you got a little bit of that experience. Obviously, when the draw came out, you had to be a little disappointed, but one division, a lot of money on the line here tonight, and with that being the case, do you expect there to be plenty of action?
You know, I'm hoping there will be, but you never know. You just never know how things are going to turn out. The favorite having the rail, and he's a front runner, might change things, but there's some speed horses in there. If somebody takes a run at him, it could be a good race.
So we're heading in now to this being the final leg of the OSS before the super final. It's been a real good season to this point, but maybe assess his last month. I know he was on quite a tear there earlier on. How is he coming into tonight's race overall after those last few starts?
Yeah, he's in good shape coming in. He's virtually raced good every start this year. He seems happy and sound, and I think he's as good as he ever was.
And just coming into this season overall, I know it's been a lot talked about what a successful campaign it has been, and I remember when he debuted last fall, he really turned some heads. Has he matched your expectations or maybe even exceeded them?
He's at least matched and even exceeded them, yeah. He's always been a really nice horse, and he showed it to us last year, and you're hoping for the best this year, and he's come through well.
All right, well, best of luck here tonight.
Thank you.
Nice to hear from Jack Darling, sending out Beaumont Hanover, and we talked about the great names that started their careers in this part of the province. Jack Darling is among them. Let's meet the field for tonight's 6th 9-horse field in a super high 5 event, going a 1 1/16. Bravado Sealster, son of rock and roll heaven, 2-time winner in 14 this year, 11 trips to the winner's circle lifetime. Paul McKenzie doing the driving.
Current even money favorite is the 6-year-old gelding artistic pick, Colin Kelly, driving for trainer and co-owner Kyle Bossens.
May 2-4, number 3, 22-time career winner. He'll pick up Bob McClure in the driver's seat tonight from post 3.
11-year-old gelding for Savannah Splendor, Drew Neal, driving for owner-trainer Courtney Robson, 0 for 20 on the season.
and that one sitting at 13-1 currently. The free-legged veteran, there's a look at that one. Next up will be another long shot at 25-1. One of the flashiest looking individuals you see at the Raceway. He's got the big white blaze down the front of his nose. Stonebridge Scout, the 12-year-old Travis Henry doing the driving.
Number 6 is GMC Trooper. George Large owns and trains. Mark St. Louis will drive. 2 for 22 on the season is GMC Trooper, who's currently 9-2.
Kendall Fresco, another veteran, a 12-year-old, and a barn favorite of the McNiven clan who own and train this guy, Brett McDonald driving.
Number 8, Eternal Ruler, will start from the second tier. Scott Ray drives for trainer Dwayne May.
And Dream Fair Tecate, number 9, Bud Sinclair trains. Doug McNair in the driver's seat looking for his first win in 3 this year. Looks a bit headstrong at this point in time, and he'll leave from that second trailing position. So again, 7 on the gate, 2 trailers here. And you know, this format was developed a few years back. We were looking for a way to you know, try and make the pick 4, the multi-leg wagers, a little more competitive. You're at a little bit of a competitive disadvantage here, Mark, in that you're 7 wide in one trailer, generally 8-horse field. So a couple of times a night, you add that extra trailer in there, throw on the Super High 5, and it's proven popular, certainly with horse players.
Yeah, no doubt about that. The fact that you got a Super High 5 midway through the card, and one that it's never going to be too easy to hit, can shape things up for later on in the card when you do have it in the finale for a potential carryover situation. I love seeing a bigger field. There's no doubt about that, especially on a smaller track, which means everyone has got to get involved. There's no sitting back. And with those 2 trailers, the ones on the outside have got to have a game plan going in. You heard Sugar Doyle talking about it a little earlier, how these mile and 16th races seem to play out. Interesting to wonder, though, for the drivers competing. You know, we're just starting a brand new meet. For them, is it getting back to that familiarity of competing in these added distance events when they're not doing them on a regular basis?
Absolutely. And, you know, I love a race like this, Mark, because we're getting a look at a lot of veteran horses that we've seen, these hard hitters year after year. They don't get the accolades of the young stakes horses, but you know, these ones at one time were those young stakes performers, some of them, and you know, they've turned into good old Raceway horses. There's one of them, Kendall Fresco, now 12 years old, 328 career starts, $170,000 the hard way. Another one, a local favorite, Stonebridge Scout there, the 12-year-old. He's got $170,000 on his card. So nice to get a look at these guys. They maybe have seen their better days, but they're still competitive racehorses, and when you put them all in together, you generally get a good race.
And these ones mean just as much of their connections as those Star 2 and 3-year-olds, maybe even more. They just, these are ones that, for even fans, the ones that you can track week in and week out, you just grow to love them. I think the average age in this field is about 9 years old. You go through the group, you got an 11-year-old, you got a couple 12-year-olds, a 10-year-old. So the youngest horse in this group is the 9, Dream Fair Tecate, who is just 5. I should say just 5, but hey, that's the way it is for some of these veteran performers. They're classy, no doubt about that.
And I'm sure our viewers watching tonight, a lot of them are long-time and regular race fans, and you've probably got an old favorite that you enjoy watching week in and week out. Let us know in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you wherever you are tuning in here this evening. We talked about the drivers who've cut their teeth here locally and then gone on to the big time, so to speak, and one of them is Doug McNair. Remembering earlier today, I was back in 2010, he became the youngest driver in history to reach 1,000 wins at the time. And it was interesting, he got really close to the mark, and then he went on a bit of a cold spell, and he went to the Meadowlands that weekend. I remember he had a full lineup at the Meadowlands, and we thought, oh no, he's going to get the mark down there, and we had the sign ready and wanted to make a big deal out of it here. Well, as fate would have it, I think he got shut out there and got it back here with a horse called Greystone the Grad. But since then, he's gone on to do amazing things in the race bike.
Win 1,000 here, win number 1 here as well. He got his license, and then that evening got a win here at Western Fair, and was back here earlier this week on the opening day of the meet, and steered a few winners on that Wednesday evening card. So for Doug McNair, it's been a busy, active summer now into the fall. You know, earlier this summer we were visiting Hanover Raceway. He was going there every single Saturday afternoon. He was the leading driver, and of course that's just on top of the fact that he was driving in many of the marquee races at Woodbine Mohawk Park and posting big numbers as he seems to do annually. And I think it shows certainly just his passion for what he is doing, the fact that he has just been nonstop on the go for the last several months, and we'll see if he continues to make some regular appearances here at the Raceway throughout the fall and winter.
All right, there's a look at number 7 in the field, and he's the longest on the board currently, Kendall Fresco, as the starters are getting set to assemble and move in behind the gate for this mile and a 16th event. So they start a little bit earlier than the traditional start here in London, a little bit further up the stretch. So a longer straightaway, as we heard Sugar Doyle allude to earlier, a longer straightaway to that first turn gives drivers a bit more time to sort out their position early, and they've got that little bit of added racetrack to work with if you're trying to come from off the pace, which, as you know, Mark, is tough to do in a half-mile track.
Yeah, it certainly is. So I think there's something about these added distance races where, you know, a lot of drivers will tell you the wings of the gate fold, and you know they have a plan, but it's a tentative plan because they got to see how everybody else decides to tackle things. But I think certainly, especially if you're on the outside of the gate in a race like this, you have got to have a plan. You probably want to stick to it, but if you can be in striking range coming around that last turn, you may have a shot.
All right, the starting gate getting set to move into position. The countdown clock now down to under 30 seconds for race number 6. Let's put our handicapping hat on quickly here, Mark. You've had a chance to scour the field in this 6th. It's wide open, to say the least. Who do you like?
Well, the betting favorite right now is the 2 Artistic Pick, and coming out of the preferred 3 at Georgian. That's natural, a little bit of a class drop. This one certainly stands out, but I'll go with the next door neighbor. Look for a 10-1 upset here. Let's go with Bob McClure. We saw him rallying at the end there in race number 5 with Who's Your Mama to grab a 3rd. How about he gets the 9-year-old May 2-4 to the winner's circle for owner-trainer Sheldon Rose. Be a nice little cash before we head in to our feature race.
The starting gate rolling. 7 on the gate, 2 from the second tier. It's race number 6. Once again, here's Sugar with the description.
Raceway tonight. You're watching the Raceway at Western Fair District, London, Ontario. Great shot there, picked up by COSA-TV. They're with us on track tonight. Wonderful job, Greg and Mark. They're off in the 6th. Leaving sharply, GMC Trooper. And towards the inside, Bravado Sealster and Artistic Pick. GMC Trooper timed it perfectly and does make front, and now he's on the pylons for St. Louis. Tracking second, Bravado Sealster, the 3-5 favorite. Artistic Pick took a seat in third. Eternal Ruler traveling in 4th, a midfield 5th for May 2-4. That came ahead of Stonebridge Scout. Then it was Savannah Splendor. Next to last, Dream Fair Tecate, the earliest trailer, was Kendall Fresco. They were single file through a very comfortable opening quarter mile of just 30 seconds flat. GMC Trooper trying to put them to sleep. The sleeper hold is on. 10-1 long shot leader here for GMC Trooper. Bravado Sealster bravening up here in second. It's Artistic Pick still third. Eternal Ruler gets pulled out of 4th and is going to go first up here for the Razor. Following that move is May 2-4 to set it up 3rd over Dream Fair Tecate. Then it's Stonebridge Scout. Next to last, Savannah Splendor. The trailer continues to be Kendall Fresco. The half with just 1:01. They diddled and they dawdled, and they're getting to, well, about 3/8 left to go now. Only 3/8 left to chase down the pace setter, GMC Trooper, who's had the teletimer on his side. It's Bravado Sealster. He's thinking about it here in second. Is there room to go, though? Up to 3/4 and getting them there. GMC Trooper, Bravado Sealster all over the St. Louis helmet here in second. Sticking around there, third. Eternal Ruler. That's keeping the 1 and 2 hemmed in here into the final turn. 3/4 up in 1, 30-1. Trying trying to steal one here. GMC Trooper Bravado Sealster has a way out. He's coming on now with an 8 left to go. Artistic pick, maybe not tonight. GMC Trooper Bravado Sealster, and along the inside, Artistic pick, GMC Trooper Bravado Sealster. GMC Trooper just stole one in London. Bravado Sealster second, Artistic pick third, fourth going to May 2-4, and maybe Savannah Splendor to complete the high five.
10-1 upsetter in that mile and a 16th contest, and we talked about it, Mark, how outside posts here, if you have gate speed, you can really step out of there and get around them before that first turn, especially with that little bit of added distance to the turn in this mile and a 16th format.
Did Mark St. Louis ever take full advantage of that? He had a great shot at the start of that race, and GMC Trooper gets off the wings very well and is quickly crossing over, and the fact that that one's almost down to the pylons before they hit the first turn makes the front does not get challenged, and is going to go the distance, the added distance in this case, to pick up the victory, fending off Bravado Sealster, and then in behind was the favorite Artistic pick for third. A nice steer there from Mark St. Louis, racks up a ton of wins, and he adds another one here, keeping this one alive to the finish line. And
it looked at the three-quarter pole that, you know, the ones in behind, if they could get a way out, they would likely go by, but full marks for this 6-year-old for finding another gear in the stretch to hold them off.
Yeah, I thought they would be bunching up a little bit more, and when we cut to that shot, the great cable cam shot that you get at the top of the stretch, there was a little more distance that those top three had created on the rest of the field, more than I thought there was going to be. I was looking at my pick from Bob McClure steering May 2-4. That one sitting second over, has to go 3 wide. Felt like he was waiting to get almost off that turn before he finally did go 3 wide. Didn't want to lose much ground, but it didn't seem to matter because finally once he did go about 3 wide, he was already about 6 lengths off the lead. And here is GMC Trooper, who takes our 6th race.
So at 10-1, that's certainly going to beef up that super high 5 payout. That is a carryover wager. You do get the favorites in for second and third though, so not sure if we're going to be into a carryover situation here, but I think nonetheless a nice return. You know, when you get anything at double digits to kick it off, generally pays well, and the pool size has been strong as well. And time to find out those pari-mutuel details, and yes, a nice return, just a little bit shy of the $2,000 mark for a $1 ticket. So if you were a backer of GMC Trooper and liked him in the win slot, not that hard to get in behind.
No, not at all there, if you can get the logical ones right there as well. But GMC Trooper, $22 winner here in the 6th race, and it has been a great night for those of you that like to go against the favorites, because we have seen some great prices all night long. We haven't seen a favorite win yet. Greg, we're heading towards our main event. Do we see a favorite go down? Let's see if that trend continues.
That is a great question. We are halfway home on this Friday night. You're watching COSA-TV from the Raceway.
Harness Racing Update is the sport's most comprehensive and timely news source. HRU covers the sport from all angles with news, features, photography, opinion, and analysis of racing. Also, HRU covers breeding and sales, as well as industry stories you need to know. It's all delivered by a deep, diverse, and talented team of writers and photographers. And the best news is that it's free to subscribe. Subscribe to HRU today for free at harnessracingupdate.com and see what everyone is talking about.
Welcoming you back to the Raceway in London, Ontario. It is time for the main event, and that is the OSS Gold division for 3-year-old colt and gelding pacers. Just a single division tonight, so a hefty purse mark of $155,000 plus. And Tattoo Artist, he certainly has been enjoying a breakout season as a 3-year-old this year. No signs of slowing down, and looking to add another nice payday to his already impressive seasonal resume.
Yeah, that would be the case if he can come through here tonight. He's got $532,000 made this season to go with the $772,000 for his career. He was last year's Ontario Sire Stakes champion, winning the Super Final as a 2-year-old. And if he can win here tonight, he will have gone 5 for 5 in the OSS regular season. He'll be the only horse this year at the gold level to have done so.
And tonight really billed as a marquee matchup, a showdown, if you will, between Tattoo Artist and Beaumont Hanover. They've been close to perfect in the Ontario Sire Stakes this season. And interestingly, they've only met head-to-head once, and that was in their most recent start. And Tattoo Artist able to remain perfect in the provincial program with that victory last time out. Beaumont Hanover, as mentioned, he's close. He's had 4 starts this year, 3 wins, and that runner-up finish, and combined well over $500,000 in OSS earnings this season, and plenty of time to add to that bankroll, frankly, as we get set to go. So there's a look at them making their final preparations. While we have a moment here, we want to take a look at some of the replays of these guys most recently. So let's show you that most recent head-to-head matchup where it was the first time these two met. And here they are, sitting 1-2 as they go into that far turn, that sweeping far turn at Woodbine Mohawk Park.
Rhythm in motion, the 4th one, 5th to the rail is Denali Sealster. Now 6th and up on the move, Powers Up on a toe. Shuffled back to 7th, Springbridge Jim. Winding up from the backfield, 8th outside comes Night Watchman. Off the rail from in 4th. Here's Rhythm in motion to go first over now, and he's quickly gaining on the rim for Philly 3/4 in 123, top of the stretch. Tattoo Artist is there, leading it by a full length. Pressure from Rhythm in motion into 2nd now. Beaumont Hanover starts to gap at the inside for Jameson from in 3rd. He's scrambling for late racetrack on the outside, but in the meantime, Tattoo Artist has got 2 lengths. 2nd on the outside to Rhythm in motion. Beaumont Hanover with late speed on the outside, 3rd now. Here's Tattoo Artist coming to the line. Tattoo Artist a length and a half better than a late driving Beaumont Hanover. Rhythm in motion was 3rd, and the mile 150-1. Back into 2nd is Rhythm in motion, the half and 54 2/5. Denali Sealster is 3rd. 4th is Velocity Ruckus. The 5th one back is Springbridge Jim. And trailing 6th, Examiner Hanover going into the final turn. And it's Beaumont Hanover with that lead. 3/8 to go. Rhythm in motion is right there 2nd. Here outside now, Denali Sealster first over, driving 3rd. On his cover 4th is Velocity Ruckus. With cover 5th outside goes Springbridge Jim. And the trailer at the rails scooting through Examiner Hanover to save ground. 3/4 in 122 and 4 off the turn into the stretch. Beaumont Hanover the one to catch. Denali Sealster on the outside up into 2nd. Locked in the boxes, Rhythm in motion from in 3rd. Rolling from the backfield is Springbridge Jim. Still there, Beaumont Hanover. Rhythm in motion in the pocket spot. Here on the far outside is Springbridge Jim. It's Beaumont Hanover. Up the rail is Rhythm in motion. Beaumont Hanover and Jameson to win this OSS Gold division. 2nd best up the inside came Rhythm in motion. Then Springbridge Jim was 3rd. Tight for 4th in 149 and 2.
All right, so look at these two head-to-head. We'd been looking forward to that for so long, and you know, not much separating them when they did. Of course, Beaumont Hanover, he's had his moments in the spotlight this season, but Tattoo Artist, he's proven to be next to unbeatable this year. One of his few losses, but still a great effort, and a great result for him came earlier this season, Mark, in the Pepsi North America Cup.
Yeah, it did. He just got into the final with a 5th place finish in the elimination. The same elimination race that also saw Beaumont Hanover finish 6th and just missed the final. And Tattoo Artist took full advantage of getting that opportunity to race in that $1 Million Classic, finishing 2nd. You know, Bob McClure had a big decision to make. He'd actually won a Pepsi North America Cup elimination with Captain Kirk, but he was committed here to Tattoo Artist and very confident in Tattoo Artist. And we'll hear from Bob in a few minutes, but he has always been a fan of this horse. And Tattoo Artist did not disappoint on that night, finishing 2nd to Tall Dark Stranger, who potentially could be the horse of the year.
All right, there's a look at the outstanding field of 7 colts. They're in the race paddock here in London, just getting set to go momentarily. The final equipment adjustments being made. We talked about the Pepsi NA Cup. Well, we have just a moment here. Let's take you back and relive the final portions of that race. Had to be tremendously exciting for the connections as we'll pick it up turning for home. On that night, Tall Dark Stranger was clearly the horse to beat. This guy breathing down his neck and gets a shot at him in the home stretch. And Mark, right in about here, were you like me where you thought, maybe, just maybe, he's going to do it?
I absolutely had that thought. And, you know, if this race happened this Saturday and the same situation came up, I'm not sure I would have had those same feelings, because Tall Dark Stranger just seems to do this to everybody. He allows everyone to think they have a shot, and then he just digs in. We see him do that time and time again. But Tattoo Artist, there was no shame in this effort on that occasion. He came out, he got up to the wheel, might have been within a length, and you see just at the line, Tall Dark Stranger, the champion he is, getting away. But it's a great payday when you finish second in the Pepsi North America Cup, so nothing to be disappointed about, certainly.
Yeah, it certainly is. So the caretakers leading their charges from the paddock to the tunnel. We'll have the post parade of this one coming up next. Tattoo Artist at 1 to 5. If I'm being 100% honest, Mark, at the beginning of the season, I thought really fast colt. They're going to have a lot of fun with him this year, but I didn't expect we'd still see him in October at the top of the division like this.
I'm with you on that, and I guess everybody was waiting for, again, Tattoo Artist to sort of come back down to earth, maybe get burned out a little bit with the way that he was racing. You know, his first start earlier in the year, Sylvain Filion drove him, and he was in the 2-hole, and he was hot as could be. And you know what? Full marks to trainer Dr. Ian Moore, because this one, he's clearly got a style. But here we are, the final gold division of the season. He's 4 for 4, looking to go 5 for 5. And again, he has just become one of those horses that certainly deserves respect amongst the top 3-year-old pacing colts in the sport. Be very interesting to see what comes next for him when the OSS season wraps up a week tomorrow.
Okay, time to meet the field for this Ontario Sire Stakes gold leg. And $155,000 plus on the line. And there he is, Tattoo Artist, the talk of the tote board. The son of He's Watching, trained by Dr. Ian Moore. For Frank Canup and the Let It Ride stables, Bob McClure will be in the driver's seat looking for win number 8 of the season.
Sports Writer Colt Beach Blanket Book is the 2. Doug McNair drives for trainer Blake McIntosh. 3rd in the OSS standings is Beach Blanket Book. He gives an honest effort every week. Connection stuck him over to Flamborough last Saturday for a qualifier to get him ready for tonight's start on the half-mile oval.
A graduate of the London Selected Yearling Sale from right across the road here at the Agriplex from a few years back, Springbridge Jim. A $14,000 yearling purchase. He's got $75,000 on his card now. Colin Kelly driving for the co-owner and trainer Andrew Moore.
Rhythm in Motion is the 4, a gelded son of Big Jim, 4th in the OSS standings. Ben Bayarjan has been racking up the gold wins as of late. He's had an incredible season. Sylvain Filion will drive the winner of 3 of 12 this season with $115,000 made.
Paul McKenzie on board. The other Dr. Ian Moore pupil in the field, Denali Sealster, another London Selected yearling purchase for $34,000. A son of Sunshine Beach has $191,000 plus made.
Onato is the 6, a Better Still Light colt racing for Synerco Ventures. Rod Boyd trains. Chris Christoforou will drive. 1 for 14 on the season, but he does have 7 top 3 finishes.
And there's Jody Jamieson, a former kingpin here of the Raceway in London. Of course, he's been one of the top drivers in Canada ever since. And Beaumont Hanover enjoying an incredible campaign. He's got more than $250,000 banked this year for his owner and trainer, Jack Darling. But Tattoo Artist, it looks like his race to win or lose tonight from post 1. And earlier, Mark caught up with driver Bob McClure for his comments.
Sire Stakes Gold Division for 3-year-old pacing colts and geldings. He'll drive the rail starter, Tattoo Artist. And Bob, before we talk about tonight, we're winding down the OSS season. Last night, a very big night for you. 2 gold wins, 2 different tracks. So it was a good couple of hours. Maybe take us through both of those wins. You've got a couple nice trotters on the go there, and they must be heading towards the super final, feeling really good.
Yeah, obviously, Macho Martini, he's been the best colt all year, I think. And he left no doubt last night. You know, his versatility, his professionalism, he got around the half perfect. which is a big testament to Luke and Luke's training, and I couldn't be happier with the way he is. I really think he should be undefeated. If it weren't for some bad situations I got him in, I think he would still be undefeated, but no sense looking back at that now.
All right, so we move on to tonight, and of course you've got Tattoo Artist, final gold of the season. You come to the half, first time this season on a half, but you draw the rail. So you had to love that when you saw the draw come out. What are we expecting here tonight?
Actually, to be honest with you, rail wasn't the spot I wanted. I think he's going to end up being the heavy favorite. He can leave really hard, really fast. It always ends up when you got the rail and you're a heavy favorite, there's somebody leaving India and then parked or something, so you got to do something to maneuver. It's a lot easier when you can kind of get the middle of the gate and just work your way to the front or do whatever you want from there. But I mean, obviously he's in a position now where he's got to use his gate speed. He's got to blast out and he put everybody in a hole. Hopefully that's as easy as it is.
Obviously the bigger money is on the line next Saturday with the super final, but tonight this is a good chunk of change being just one division. With that being the case, do you expect somebody to really take a shot here?
100%, 160 on the line. They're not gonna duck. You know, Jody with the 7-hole at Beaumont, he's probably the second best horse in the division. He's not about to just take back to last and get a piece. I'm sure we'll hear from him. But like I say, luckily Tattoo's Artist, his speed off the gate is so overwhelming usually. Hopefully just leaves no doubt going into the first turn.
All right, well, it's been a fantastic season to this point. The OSS wrapping up Grassroots tomorrow night, super final next Saturday. Best of luck.
Thank you.
A confident but not overconfident Bob McClure. I think he has plenty of respect for the other 6 rivals that he faces here tonight. Let's talk speed, Mark, because we've got certainly the talent and again, unseasonably nice weather for this time of year, and I think it's a recipe for potential records. Let's talk fastest 3-year-old colt pacers in Canada this season. Now, Tattoo Artist is the co-fastest on the big track with Tall Dark Stranger, 148-2. Interesting, Beaumont Hanover fastest on a 5/8 mile oval. We saw him setting that mark of 150-2 earlier this year at Rideau Carleton. And on a half, Mayhem Hanover is the fastest this year, 151-4 at Flamborough Downs. Do they threaten that kind of speed tonight?
Well, it'd be a huge mile here tonight at the Raceway if they could match that. That was Mayhem Hanover, one that has raced at higher levels, one that many, you know, if he was in the gold, I think he would certainly hold his own. They've gone the grassroots route with him, and he did that a few weeks ago. But these are a couple of special horses in this group, Tattoo Artist and Beaumont Hanover, and we've talked about the fact that they could and certainly do hold their own and challenge the very best across North America. So a big mile like that, I guess, would not be an absolute stunner, but with a field like this, you know, Bob thinks there's going to be a bit of action. I'm not so sure there'll be as much action early on, and you're going to need some good fractions early on to set up some type of record mile.
All right, so let's talk the track record then for 3-year-old colt and gelding pacers. And both marks are 152-4, Sintra and Stonebridge Tonic. So I think that's certainly within their grasp here, Mark.
I do too. I could see something right in that ballpark. Certainly that would be well within reach, and that's not to say they couldn't absolutely stun us and break that season's mark set by Mayhem Hanover, but something in that area, certainly for Tattoo Artist. You know, Bob's noted he just got that great gate speed, so he could be up to the quarter fairly quickly here. And we'll see if somebody does take that shot, because it would be coveted to be able to get that 2-hole trip behind him. And you know, Beach Blanket Book is a 2-hole starter, so he's likely just going to try and stick right on to Tattoo Artist's back. But I guess everyone knows if they somehow were ever able to sprint Tattoo Artist, he's likely going to be coming around, and you'd be sitting right on his back, getting a good trip. Yeah, we and heard from Blake McIntosh earlier in the week, and you know, he thinks his horse is almost as good on a half mile. So I think he's expecting a good result certainly tonight, and he's got a pretty good post to work with. We saw Rhythm in Motion a moment ago, another really nice colt, 115,000 on his card this year, and a continually improving son of Big Jim. I think he's getting a bit closer to this top pair as the season wears on. What do you think? I mean, he's coming off a good win himself last time. Yeah, I'm with you there. I think he's just below those top 2, and if he gives a big effort here tonight, he'll certainly be in the hunt. 7-1 on Beaumont Hanover. I know it's a tough post position here, but the fact that he's not the second choice, it's going to be pretty enticing for some, that if Tattoo Artist just is ever off his game, you know, the next best horse in this group is Beaumont Hanover. And, you know, when I asked Jack Darling about that last month for Beaumont Hanover, where we've seen him kind of have a stretch of second place finishes in his last 3, hasn't won in his last 4, wasn't meant to sort of come across like an insult, but to his point, he said, I think he's as good as ever. So I think it shows right there. He's got all the confidence in the world in Beaumont Hanover, and just because he hasn't been in the winner's circle as of late does not mean he is not one of the very best in Ontario and maybe in North America. And you know, we have to remember he battled a mild sickness around that Pepsi NA Cup elimination. And we thought the next time out he was second. He was a good second, but we thought he looked flat by his standards. And he's been better in his last couple. So there's reason to believe he could be even better here tonight. He's going to have to be, but you wouldn't be shocked, put it that way, even with post 7. And you've got Jody Jamieson. If there's a guy that can find a way sometimes to overcome these obstacles and win these types of races, it's him. So it should be a lot of fun. Fasten your seatbelts. Great look at the top 3-year-old colt pacers in the province for the last time before the OSS Super Finals next weekend at Woodbine Mohawk Park. And they're here tonight at the Raceway on the half-mile oval. Starting gate moving into position. Brad Piddock will be calling them in for tonight's main event. We stand by for the race call of this $155,600 contest with track announcer Shannon Sugar Doyle.
Coming in from Alberta, where did the Thoroughbreds Canadian Derby. It was a $100,000 purse. We're going for $155,000 here. It's the Glamour Boys on the pace. Tattoo Artist, Bob McClure, Beach Blanket Book, Doug McNair, Springbridge Jim, Colin Kelly, Rhythm and Motion, Sylvain Filion, Denali Sealster, Paul McKenzie, Onato, Chris Christopherou, Beaumont Hanover, Jody Jamieson, Ontario Sire Stakes Gold. Here they come. They're off. It's on. Quick gate move from Rhythm and Motion, and Filion has pointed that one to the lead and pylon position early, though already thinking about a Tattoo Sealster. Beaumont Hanover left out. Beaumont Hanover driving on here for Jamieson into third as they race on down the backstretch to the opening quarter mile. It's Rhythm and Motion on the inside, giving the cold horse shoulder early to Beaumont Hanover, protecting its pylon position. Tattoo Artist, opening quarter mile speed. Your bullet! 26-1, one of the fastest quarters I've ever seen in London, courtesy of Rhythm and Motion, settling things down on the front end mission. Rhythm and Motion here at 9-2, now coasting. He's deposited Beaumont Hanover in for the 2-hole ride. Tattoo Artist underway out of third. Following on that move will be Beach Blanket Book. Then along the inside, it was Springbridge Jim. Outside, traveling 6, Denali Seals to the trailer. Onato, half-timed up and 54-4. All in here, Rhythm and Motion. Tattoo Artist is on his wheel here in second. Beaumont Hanover is a traveling third. Fourth best on the outside for Beach Blanket Book. Fifth continues to be Springbridge Trim. Along the inside, it was Onato, the trailer, Denali Sealster. Here's 3/4. Hit me! 123 flat, and Rhythm and Motion doing it, and doing it well. His lead is still 2 lengths, giving chase. Tattoo Artist, pylon position there in third. Beaumont Hanover coming through to be fourth now. Springbridge Jim into the stretch, and it's still Rhythm and Motion, though. Here comes Tattoo Artist, and he went by. Tattoo Artist and McClure going on by for the victory here on Ontario Sire Stakes Gold. Beaumont Hanover on for second. Rhythm and Motion did all the work. He finishes third. It was close for fourth. Tattoo Artist, McClure on for more. 153-2.
And what an action-packed contest, and the end result is pretty much what everybody expected. I just don't know if many people would have expected it to go that way and for the race to unfold as it did. Rhythm in Motion absolutely exploding off the wings of the gate, a take no prisoners approach, and it looked like it was going to work at the 3/4 pole as Tattoo Artist just simply couldn't get up past the leader's wheel at that point. Beaumont Hanover started to gap, but on the last turn, Tattoo Artist finds his second win. Rhythm in Motion, the early fractions catch up with him, and Beaumont Hanover, the case of seconditis continues, but really a good effort from him again tonight from post 7. But there he is. He's the clear star of the division at this point.
Unofficial winner here, number.
And Tattoo Artist, another 75,000 plus on his card this year. He's well over 600,000 in seasonal earnings, and a hard-fought victory tonight in 153-2. A slowing tempo in the final quarter, but understandably so after all of the work that these colts had to do in the early stages. But what an entertaining gold final here tonight. Tattoo Artist over Beaumont Hanover, Rhythm in Motion 3rd, Beach Blanket Book was 4th. They're making their way back to the winner's enclosure. While we have a moment, let's take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll hear from the winning connections.
COSA, the Central Ontario Standardbred Association, proudly serving Ontario horse people with integrity and accountability. Collaborative, supportive, helping to ensure a vibrant harness racing industry. Lifetime membership is free and there are many benefits. Become a new member today. COSA, representing the interests of horse people racing at Ontario racetracks. To find out more, visit COSA.
Greg Gangle, the racing manager here. Rob Lumsden, director of racing, making the blanket presentation. There's Dr. Ian Moore and a winning driver, Bob McClure. So Tattoo Artist getting it done. Of course, Ian Moore's had plenty of success on this oval in the past. Of course, won our signature event here, formerly the Molson Pace and the Camlock Classic with state treasurer 3 times in that event. And now getting a gold final victory here with Tattoo Artist. A hard-fought victory, and this guy just loves to win races. He certainly has the talent. He's got so many weapons, and showing tonight versatility is one of them, because the trip just did not work out the way that many would have anticipated. A lot of people speculating it could be a gate-to-wire victory for this guy. That was not the case, as he had to make the first over move in the middle half to win. So we're going to head over trackside. I believe Mark McKelvey has the winning trainer, Ian Moore.
Here, but it is.
All right, we're just outside the winner's circle here at the Raceway Western Fair District, and joined by winning trainer Dr. Ian Moore after Tattoo Artist just took the OSS Gold. The final leg of the season, super final next week, and Doc, 5 for 5 this season in the regular season. He's the only horse in Ontario to do that at the gold level. Here tonight, though, a little different than what we've seen from him throughout this season.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't what I expected, that's for sure, especially having the rail. But over London, like I've raced here a lot years gone by when I was a student up here going to school, and usually, 4 or 5 is a good place to leave here because you can barrel them into the turn with the bank there. But the rail's a little tough because turn comes so quick, and you got to keep them on that, keep them in a bit. But anyway, it worked out all right. The track was, it's just a second race card, and the track was very loose and cuppy on the inside tonight. I think if it had been a decent track, it would have been a real decent mile there. That was a tiring last quarter, 30-2. So, but anyway, we're very pleased.
When you saw him first up, what was your confidence level moving towards 3/4 there and into the final turn?
Well, it didn't look so good for a while there, but the horse in the front end put up some wicked fractions, so he tired, and I guess we had enough left. Again, this is the third 3-week break this horse Tattoo has had during this summer season, and it's been very difficult to know how much and how fast to train him. He seems to be taking it in stride, but I'm sure he's going to be much better now next Saturday than he was tonight, so, if you know what I mean. So we'll be looking forward to next Saturday, for sure.
That was one thing I was going to bring up, is the fact it's been a different year for him, and overall, I mean, the fact that he's been able to maintain this level to this point, I mean, kudos to yourself and your entire team, but how much of a challenge has it been? I guess, like you said, there has been some ups and downs in the schedule. Yeah,
it's been very challenging, and it's, you got a horse that's sharp and in the rigging, and then all of a sudden they're shut down again for 3 weeks. And, I took him to Flamborough last Thursday and trained him over Flamborough to get him ready for this. And, he trained okay, let's put it that way, but he wasn't fired up heck like he was at the start of the year, because they're tired of training now. They want to race. So it's difficult, but he's a good horse, and good horses usually find a way around it. There's no doubt about that.
All right, so the Super Final next Saturday is obviously up next for him. What else are you thinking this season potentially?
I'm hoping that we'll maybe supplement him to the Breeders' Crown. He wasn't paid up to a lot, but he does have the Matron and maybe the Progress. Like, there are a few late ones there in November, and I'm not sure now. That's probably only about 11 starts or so, maybe 12 for him. Typically this time of year I'd be getting close to 20 now with a 3-year-old. I've raced him between 20-25 starts a year, so he could still go a little longer into the year. They're going to keep him next year and race him as a 4-year-old. That's what we've talked about now, so he'll be heading to Florida at some point if I do go there. 98% sure now, but not totally. And so hopefully we'll supplement the Breeders' Crown and go down to Hoosier, I guess.
All right, well, so some big plans potentially ahead. You got a lot of those OSS blankets. I know you'd like one more next Saturday with the Super Final, so good luck.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, Tattoo Artist 153-2 takes the gold here tonight in London.
Yeah, so really interesting to hear from Ian Moore, his insights into the race tonight and the lead up, and of course what is coming up next for Tattoo Artist. Popular winner, 230. Nice place return for Beaumont Hanover, 710. That number kind of jumps out. And you know what? The exactor, the two heavyweights of the division, and you get $12.40. Not a bad return at all for that 1-7 combination. Again, a highly entertaining gold final here tonight at the Raceway. We've got one more left to go. Time for another short commercial break, and we'll be back with Race 8, the Preferred 2 Pace, coming up next.
Harness Racing Update is the sport's most comprehensive and timely news source. HRU covers the sport from all angles with news, features, photography, opinion, and analysis of racing. Also, HRU covers breeding and sales, as well as industry stories you need to know. It's all delivered by a deep, diverse, and talented team of writers and photographers. And the best news is that it's free to subscribe. Subscribe to HRU today for free at harnessracingupdate.com and see what everyone is talking about.
Welcome back to COSA-TV. You're watching live coverage on this Friday night program from the Raceway. And we've got a Preferred 2 handicap pace, a good-looking 6-horse field to wrap up our action here tonight. And this is a very competitive field of 6. There's a look at how they're going to line up on the starting gate. Before we get to that, though, we want to look ahead to a little bit later this month. An annual event that we are excited about is returning, but like most things, it's returning virtually this year. It's Harness the Hope, and it's all in support of the Breast Cancer Society of Canada and Pink Pearl Canada. It's coming up this year on Sunday, October 25th, from 7 o'clock until 8:30 p.m. as a virtual event. And to tell us a little bit more about it and tell us a bit of the background on how this event got started, we want to welcome in Christy Dustin to the studio here. And Christy, formerly the marketing director here at the Raceway, yes, so has a nice tie-in. And her father, Greg, known as Curly to folks in this area, is a well-known horseman as well. But Christy, you and your mother Doreen obviously started this event, and maybe tell us a bit about your family story and how this has touched you.
Well, we started 15 years ago. My mom was first diagnosed with breast cancer, so this is our 15th anniversary. I worked here at the time, and we just felt that we needed to do something to make a difference. And I guess 2 years ago I was also diagnosed myself at the age of 33. And while I was going through treatments in the spring, my mom was diagnosed a second time. So this hits pretty close to home for us. Anything that we can do to help someone else that has to go through this, and I mean, we look for the support of the harness racing community, and you know, it's always there, and the people that we surround ourselves with are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so this year will be the 15th edition of this, and I know, you know, a few months ago you were wondering whether you were even going to do the event this year, and probably like so many organizations and events out there where you've got to make that decision, but ultimately decided, no, we've got to do something. We've got to continue this legacy, and we're excited you did. So you're going virtual. Tell us a little bit about the event.
We're super excited about it, actually. It took a little bit of brainstorming and some hard work behind the scenes to figure out how to take all the excitement that normally happens on track and try and somehow get that to relay to people at home from their couches to watch, right? So we're doing a live virtual event. You're one of our hosts, which we're super grateful for, along with Neil Samet, who is a dear family member of ours. And we're taking the show online. You can buy tickets for $25, and they're available at harnessthehope.com. What that does is it gets you a link to watch the show. It also enables you to possibly win one of our grand prizes, which we have 5 prizes worth almost $7,000 combined. So they're pretty good door prizes, if you ask me. And we also have an online silent auction. So lots of items, over 75 items. And this year, you know, we kind of went big for our 15th, and we got quite a few breeding farms and owners of some really nice Ontario studs to donate their fees. So we have 7 different studs that you can bid on for the online auction as well.
Yeah. It's incredible how the event has grown since the first one 15 years ago. It's so big last year, you expanded it to the East Coast.
Yeah.
Samantha Galland and the team there continuing this great work there, and held their second event virtually. So, you know, gave you, I guess, a bit of an incentive to continue the event here, which is great. So again, there's some of the details.
Yeah.
Really hope you can step up and help support this wonderful cause. And Christy, want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Can't wait to see you again.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Greg.
And that'll be on Sunday, October 25th. Don't forget racing here on the 23rd. They'll be doing the blanket presentations, and some of the race coverage from that Friday program will be part of that virtual show on Sunday, October 25th. And again, if you'd like to find out more or to donate, visit them at harnessthehope.com. We'll take another quick commercial break, and we'll be back to wrap things up here with our final race on COSA-TV.
The Breeders' Crown, harness racing's richest and most prestigious championship series, featuring $6 million, will compete over 2 nights at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. Join us Friday, October 30th and Saturday, October 31st, 2020 for the 37th edition of the Breeders' Crown.
Hey guys. Hey Chris. Hey Chris.
Where does he put the horse at?
Are we doing this bike thing again?
And we are back getting set for the Preferred 2 handicap pace here. Final race as part of our 4 race coverage this evening. We welcome Mark McKelvey back to the set. And Mark, maybe just one quick wrap-up thought on that OSS Gold event, you know, we didn't see it going that way at all, but from an entertainment standpoint, it was fantastic.
Yeah, certainly delivered in that aspect. There's no doubt about that. And, you know, you heard Dr. Ian Moore's comments there. Certainly one thing that drew a lot of attention was his comments about what could be on the horizon for tattoo artists, but just talking about that race, the fact that it was different. And he touched on what we had mentioned, the fact that here was one that we weren't sure, would he be able to maintain that level all season long with what we'd seen from him early on. And he looked like a horse that just had a ton of early speed, but he's done a great job with them. And he talked about just the different challenges they've had. And here tonight, I'm sure it's not, and I know for a fact it's not how they drew it up, but this horse showed some versatility and was able to wear down and get that victory in the lane. And as Dr. Ian Moore talked about, that was a tiring last quarter for those horses.
Yeah, and you know, Bob McClure talked about it in the interview earlier. He was really confident that somebody would try and leave out of there and make a race out of it, and we weren't so sure. We thought, you know what, it's just too intimidating, I think, to try and leave into Tattoo Artist on the small track. It could really backfire, but Sylvain Filion really took that aggressive approach, and his colt raced well, just tired late, understandably, after those fractions and with the two big heavyweights in behind him. Will he try and use the same tactic, do you think, here with Tiga Hanover, another from the Ben Baerjean stable? He's got post 5 and he's 3-2 in favorite.
You'd have to wonder that. I think this one certainly is capable of shooting out of there and getting to the top, and no surprise he is the favorite. He has faced much tougher, and he has raced at high levels at Woodbine Mohawk Park over the years. He's also a Grand Circuit winner from a year ago as a 3-year-old. He had a real nice 3-year-old campaign, making $126,000, won that by being a son of some beach somewhere. He didn't have the OSS to race in, and they, for the most part, kept him local. So, you know, he put together a pretty nice season overall, and I think while he's had some tough go recently, you know, he did get a third in that most recent effort, but he was dropping down towards the bottom of the classes at Woodbine Mohawk Park. I think he lands in a spot here to get a nice big victory and kind of get that confidence going once again. And clearly the Baerjean horses have been ready over the last few weeks and all season long. The numbers have just been so high for the Baerjean barn. Consistent performers and delivering in all different divisions, whether it's with the young trotters, 3-year-old trotters, now with the pacers as well. So I think Tiga Hanover certainly deserves the respect. 8-5, you know, Jules Dragon though, and some of these others, they have raced at similar levels. We know a lot more from them, but this should be a pretty good race, I think. Very competitive contest, despite just being a field of 6.
Yeah, Tiga Hanover, certainly the lines look impressive at Woodbine, but 1 for 19 this season coming into here. Definitely in search of, I think, a confidence-building type victory here. He's the son of some beach somewhere, and his next-door neighbor, Easton Beach, the number 4, also sired by the Beach, and he comes off a win last time over the half-miler at Grand River, and he's a 5-time winner this season, in contrast to Tiga Hanover, albeit facing lesser competition on the half-mile ovals. The horse that I really think figures prominently here from post 2 is Sir Pugsley. Plenty of half-mile experience for him when you look back in his career, but more recently he's been racing well at Woodbine Mohawk Park. He scored that surprising win back in August in 49-4. He hasn't been able to quite come back and duplicate that, so he's another one that's trying to regain that winning form.
Yeah, and 3 for 16 on the season. A veteran. He's a 6-year-old with 27 wins over the course of his career. Goes for Pat Shepard, and I think Shepard constantly knows where to get them in the right spot where they can come through. And that big win that we talked about earlier this summer, it certainly forced him up into some higher classes and to face some tougher competition, where in a couple of those starts he was able to hit the board, but he hasn't really sniffed a victory in quite some time, and similar to Tiga Hanover, would think that coming into a spot like this he could come through.
So there's a look at the current odds, and Sir Pugsley's drifting up on the board at odds of 5-1. There's the one OK Man. Danielle St. Louis is the trainer. Mark St. Louis Jr. doing the driving here. And St. Louis already clicking for a winner earlier today. We saw him score in that mile in a 16th contest. And here's one that has the benefit of post 1, 10-time winner this season. So I think has to be respected, certainly. A bit of a bump up in the level of competition, though, here. But hey, when they're that familiar with these half-mile ovals and that photogenic, certainly could hit the ticket.
That is something that I always keep an eye on, is the ones that they're familiar, they race in this spot most weeks, they're the ones that you likely can peg to come through with a big effort. Also look to number 6, Rootin' Tootin', one that when he seems to venture away from Woodbine Mohawk Park, he for the most part has success. He had a win earlier in September at Sarnia and then went to Grand River with a second place finish, so he'll certainly be a factor. He's 9-2.
The starting gate rolling for our finale this evening. Good looking field of 6 preferred 2 pacers, and once again up to Sugared Oil with the race call.
Tyga Hanover, 5-2 for number 3, Jules Dragon, 8th out. Starting gate picks up speed. Here they come. They're off. Tyga Hanover trying to take them on out of there. Sir Pugsley left sharply and up between pacers. Kedros with Easton Beach. They're going lots through that opening turn. It's going to be Sir Pugsley to come out on top. Easton Beach is second, still outside and driving. It's Tyga Hanover. Inside to be fourth was OK Man. Fifth best was Jules Dragon, the trailer Rootin' Tootin'. Paying a price to lead now. This is Tyga Hanover for Filion, grabbing control at the quarter mile. Another quick quarter tonight. 26-4 speed. Tyga Hanover at 3-5 is in front midway through turn number 2. Traveling in second, Sir Pugsley. It's Easton Beach in third. OK Man, he's thinking about it fourth. Next to last as they come down in front of us, Jules Dragon made the move to the outside, and that did force the hand of OK Man, who's out and rolling and still trailing Rootin' Tootin'. 56-1 the halftime. Tyga Hanover still on top, going unchallenged into the third turn. Second best, Sir Pugsley, grit grinding away. He can live out there forever. OK Man, he's third. Fourth and in for Easton Beach, a second over toe up, and fifth for Jules Dragon. Still trailing, not out of it though. Rootin' Tootin' down the backstretch, second and final time. It's still Tyga Hanover. OK Man right on the wheel now in second. Third and in for Sir Pugsley. Holding down fourth, Easton Beach. Jules Dragon gapping on the cover now, and that sends Rootin' Tootin' out there 3 deep from last for McKenzie. 3/4 up in 125-1. Tyga Hanover still there. Sir Pugsley now from the pocket is challenging up into deep stretch, and it's still Tyga Hanover, and it's still Sir Pugsley. Sir Pugsley up in time for the victory. J.R. Plant getting it done. Second best was Tyga Hanover. Easton Beach may have come back for third against Rootin' Tootin'. 154 flat. Sir Pugsley.
Slick steer from driver J.R. Plant, the 2-hole trip conversion for Sir Pugsley for his 4th win of the season. So he, like Tyga Hanover, they come to the smaller oval tonight in search of a long overdue victory, and really it came down to the horse with the better trip.
Certainly did, that 2-hole ride, and you're going to convert if you get a trip like that for the most part. And the favorite, good effort from Tyga Hanover, but ultimately he's going to give it up there in the final strides to Sir Pugsley. You know, they're both coming out of the exact same race at Woodbine Mohawk Park. We talked about the fact that they've had to face much tougher at different times over the last couple of months, so both had to be licking their chops. The betting public, though, was all over Tyga Hanover, so Sir Pugsley, who the last time he went to a half-mile oval was back on August 1st at Hanover Raceway, that day he didn't disappoint. Comes back to the half here in early October and does deliver a 154 flat score.
Easton Beach for George Ketros, rounding out your top 3, and Rootin' Tootin' from the back of the bus comes on to pick up the 4th spot. So Sir Pugsley, second choice in the wagering at 2-1. J.R. Plant, we're starting to see more of him. Still a relatively young guy, and he was a fixture on especially the small half-mile tracks for a number of years here in Ontario, and then kind of a bit of a hiatus in recent years, and we're seeing him back doing more driving and training of late.
Yeah, that has been the case, and there's a driver that can make speed, no doubt about that, can J.R. Plant, but here he didn't have to do it. He just had to get the perfect trip, and is able to come through with the Pat Shepard trainee, Sir Pugsley, and J.R. Plant. Nice numbers, batting 280, and gets the win here tonight.
154, that's a big winning effort, and the fastest mile of the recently returned fall meet here in London. Sir Pugsley, win number 4 on the season and his 28th career trip to the winner's circle. So This one certainly knows what it takes to get his nose to the wire first, and with that kind of a trip at this class level, more often than not, that's going to result in the victory. A 2-1 victory for Sir Pugsley as he scores in the last of our 4 races here this evening. He'll be heading back to the paddock location as we give you a look at the prices for this 8th race. $6.30 the win ticket return. I find it interesting, the last race I was talking about the exacta return mark, almost $13 for Tattoo Artist onto Beaumont Hanover. Here, you reverse the 2 favorites and you get $8.70. It's funny how that goes.
Yeah, it is. Isn't that just sometimes it's an intriguing game, no doubt about that, but one that you certainly could have hammered, and if you flipped it with the second choice on top, you get back $8.70 as you mentioned. And also taking a look there, you go through that whole payout board there and you do see pretty formful, no doubt about that. So hopefully for those of you that are playing along, you at least go out a winner and you're able to cash something. And again, we saw a lot of good prices in the first half of the show. Back half here a little more chalky.
So 4 races in the books tonight, and really an entertaining 4-pack as we had a little bit of everything tonight as mentioned. And it's been a while now since we've had a look at just regular conditioned races, so it's kind of fun, and you know, it adds a different element to the show. But all 4 races tonight, lots of action and lots of entertainment.
And that's what we want, right? We want some entertainment here, and I think certainly that race 7, the OSS Gold, lived up to the hype. And I know we were billing it as a clash of the Titans. You had Tattoo and Beaumont, and while they do come in 1-2, Rhythm in Motion certainly made sure that everyone knew he was here tonight, but Tattoo Artist delivers 5 for 5. That's impressive to go through the entire OSS regular season and to pick up a victory in each and every single leg. As I mentioned in the interview with Dr. Rhea Moore, they've got 5 blankets, but they certainly want that 6th one, because if they can take down the super final, it's not every year that we do see a repeat champion, and that's what we're going to have an opportunity to see a week tomorrow in the super final.
Quick thought on that. Based on what you saw tonight, is there any reason to believe that the others have a chance to knock off Tattoo Artist when it comes to the super final?
Well, I still think Beaumont Hanover's got to get that respect. Here he is second once again, just consistently right there. And again, he's always going to have to be one that you do consider. But, you know, I guess you have to sometimes take into consideration the comments and how much stock you want to put into them. Dr. Rhea Moore said there have been a few weeks off here, and he expects Tattoo Artist to be even better next week, and I believe him there, because what we've seen so far this year, when this horse is racing, and he is racing week in and week out, he can get very good. And here tonight, I know for some, final quarter 30-2, you know, there was factors for that. I don't think you got to read too much into that, and I look for a big performance next week, especially, like I said, if they're considering bigger plans, going back to the Grand Circuit, they want to see him finish off the OSS season with a bang.
Well, listen, it's going to be a lot of fun. We can't wait to see the super finals next weekend from Woodbine Mohawk Park, and we are going to have the coverage of that for you live. But hey, let's not get too ahead of ourselves, because tomorrow night at that very same venue, we've got the Grassroots Championships. 3 more shows left to come this season, as our season has been really flying by here. And thank you again for joining us tonight. Don't forget, right back at it tomorrow evening. Woodbine Mohawk Park is the venue. 8 championship finals in the Grassroots divisions. And then the following Saturday night, it's those super finals as we crown the champions of the Ontario Sire Stakes for 2020. And we wrap up our coverage this season back at Woodbine Mohawk Park in mid-November for this year's SBOA Finals. Can't wait to see you again. We hope you enjoyed our coverage tonight, and we'll see you in a little less than 24 hours from now. Thank you, and so long from the Raceway at Western Fair District in London.